Yeah, we're recording.
Oh, we are now?
Yeah.
I was waiting for the hand. You put the hand up, and then it's like at the... You ever see iCarly? Or is that after your time? iCarly, you ever seen it?
I've heard of it.
he does the count on his hand, and when he gets down to like 3, 2, and then he like points instead of saying 1. That's like his thing.
Yeah, that's like that's what they do in normal stuff.
Okay, well, fuck me, I guess. I don't know.
I met the dog with a blog, but I never saw iCarly.
You met the dog with a blog?
Yeah, so Dog with a Blog was when I worked for Relativity, the casting department, the like head offices, and then the post department where I worked were all 3 different buildings on 3 ends of different studios. And the casting department was in the same floor as Dog with a Blog, and so they had the Dog with a Blog puppet occasionally just.
I thought it was a literal dog. I was like, was he a good boy?
I mean, I've never seen the show, but I assumed it was a puppet because there was a golden retriever puppet out there.
I've never seen the show.
Oh man, now we need to find out.
It was a real dog.
Me too. I was like, anytime. That's why I wanted to know.
Like wishbone or something.
Right. That's why I wanted to I feel like, okay, what happened just now is that I had half of the headphones off my head and I moved the other half onto my head, but it kind of looked like I was trying to block you out, which was not the case. It was just that I wanted the full sound.
I'm very insulted, and I'm really glad
that's
you
why I
just
said
explained.
something.
Oh yeah, we should probably mention we have a special guest with us again on this episode
Hey guys,
of
this is a podcast.
What? I don't remember doing a podcast. Who did that? I don't know. I've been drinking a lot this weekend.
Oh my god! Well, I was just telling Sam a little bit ago because
Sam, by the
Sam
way.
Melville
Hi.
is back. Yeah.
I am Sam. Sammi Leigh Melville.
Oh yeah, Sammi Leigh Melville, her professional name.
But
That's
also
the
just Sam.
Yeah, I'll probably just keep calling you Sam. But I'm so for Ryan's bachelor party, like I only had 3 beers, which we went to Love Draft, so I assume the beers there are more alcoholic. But and I felt perfectly fine going home. I went to bed a little bit after midnight, as confirmed by my Fitbit, and I didn't wake up until noon. And I actually feel very hungover.
Fitbits. Well, I don't know. Pedometers can lie to you.
Oh yeah.
Because mine has several times told me that I've gotten up in the middle of the night and walked around, even when I didn't have it on. So
did you set up cameras like Paranormal Activity just to make sure?
See, that always freaks me.
There's been times when I've taken it off because I keep it on my ankle.
Oh.
And I sometimes take it off. Well, I have to take it off every day when I shower, but like sometimes I take it off at night because it's just bothering me. And so I put it like in the bathroom and then I go to bed. And there's been times when I've done that, and the next morning it's like, you went for a 1 o'clock walk for 3 miles, and I'm like, no, I did not.
Oh my God.
Ghosts.
Yeah.
I have questions and concerns overall.
Yeah. Well, see, I've always thought that too because I have a history of sleepwalking, actually.
I do too.
And so, like, whenever I wake up and I have like 700 or 800 steps on my Fitbit already, I'm like, man, did I sleepwalk again in the middle of the night or something like that?
So I did not realize that Fitbit like tracked your sleep and things until I saw a commercial about it, and fairly recently I saw this commercial.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, for my sensory issues, I was just like, I cannot imagine. Like, Ryan got pissed at me the other week because he found socks in the bed because I had accidentally gone to bed with socks on. And he was like...
What a weird thing to get angry about.
Well, he didn't get angry, but he was like, why couldn't you have just taken off your socks before you went to bed? I was like, it was an accident. And, and he's like, and then you proceeded to just kick them off rather than to like take them off and then like throw them into the hamper. Like you literally could have just tried to like Michael Jordan it over to the hamper.
I
and
would have done that.
I was like, no, I figured I'd
But what if your feet get cold in the middle of the night? Then you're gonna have to go back to the hamper.
Yeah, I know. So,
but also, it's like the difference between going to the hamper or like diving under the covers to find the socks, putting them back on.
It's a lot of effort to get out of the bed to do either one of those things.
I know.
So, yeah.
My goal is to do his little bed. Like, actually, I lost my sleep mask at one point during this 12-hour siesta.
Nice.
And I couldn't find it anywhere, and I really didn't want to get back out of bed, so I just grabbed a shirt, which is what I used to do, and wrapped it over my head. So,
Perfect.
Yeah, it was a black shirt. But
I love that for you. That's great.
I mean, it wasn't ideal. But...
Light.
So, bachelorette party this weekend. Had such an amazing time with such amazing, beautiful women. We laughed, we cried, we cuddled. It was great. It was really fun because I told my maid of honor that I wanted to go. Like, I didn't want to go to Vegas or anything. Like, I didn't want to do anything with strippers or what have you. But I was like, I want to go to the Poconos because I've never been to the Poconos and, like, just get a cabin in the woods with my girls and, like, horror movie vibes. Like, I'm totally down for that.
Horror movie vibes.
We unfortunately did not get murdered over the weekend, but I know exactly.
Unfortunately, you
But
didn't
listen,
get murdered.
I know exactly what order we would have gone in. Let me explain. So, I have
Were
one.
you the final girl in this?
I was.
Yeah.
And I always am, first of
I
all.
would've been the first
except
to
for
go.
except for in any film that I've been in with you, and apparently I consistently die in those, or am the villain, or they're not horror movies.
I'm trying to think.
You once called me the Sean Bean of Central Pennsylvania.
Yeah, because I killed you in every movie.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then I was in that murder mystery dinner thing, and I was the victim, and yep, that's
yeah.
what just happens. Anyhow,
You have a very murderable face.
I think
Shannon.
that's, you know what? I don't think you're the only one who thinks that.
Aw.
So here's the thing. So I have one friend in my entire friend group that smokes cigarettes, right? So she went out on the deck in the middle of the night, and I was like, that's exactly how you are the first one to be murdered. Like that's how that isolates you. Also grants the killer access to the building, right? Because she unlocked the door to go. See, it's perfect. So she gets murdered first. Now, there were 3 bedrooms. One bedroom had 4 bunk beds in it. 2 bunk beds in it, 4 beds total. Then there was a room. There were 2 rooms with regular beds. There were 6 of us. So my friend who smokes had a room to herself, and I had a room to myself. And then the other 4 girls were in the bunk beds. So I noticed that the first night, that the couple of times I ran to the bathroom, that they kept the door open. So I'm thinking, okay, killer gets access to the house, sees that room first with the 4 bunk beds. Those girls are next. I hear the kerfuffle and book it. And that's how I survive.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. It's not quite as interesting as I was hoping it to be, but
I think it's... Listen, I put a lot of thought into this, okay? So...
Oh, man, it's really interesting, Shannon. Good job.
Thank you. So yeah.
Just lesson learned, do not sleep in the same room with other people.
No, that's... Well, what I'm saying, at least close the goddamn door.
Yeah, okay.
Haven't you ever heard of it?
Close the goddamn door. Has there ever been a murder movie centered around a bachelorette weekend?
I mean,
I'm sure there has.
I mean,
I'm
like...
sure there has.
I mean, a respectable one.
But if
like-
not, we should write it.
It's like the whole Rule 42 or whatever. It's
Oh, yeah.
except
everything's
it's
been
like
done.
for horror too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's for porn and horror.
Yeah, they work for both.
Yeah,
What is the number for that rule?
it is Rule 42.
I think it is,
Oh,
yeah.
I got it right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we did a lot of drinking, or I did a lot of drinking. They did the driving, so I hope they weren't drinking as much as I was. But
Yeah, we had Ryan's brother was just driving him around so that he could get intoxicated, but I don't think he got intoxicated. So
which is hilarious because he told me, he was like, at least every person bought me a drink. I'm like, so you walked away with at least like 6 drinks last night? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't have that stamina. I just don't. Now, one funny thing about, so getting back to the bachelorette party weekend.
bachelorette murder party weekend.
Murder party. We went to this winery, really great. We drank and tasted different wines and such. And then later that day, it turned out, and you guys have already heard the story, but for the benefit of the listeners, it turned out that my maid of honor was planning, and she found this event, and it's called Night Lights.
Ooh.
And I love how you're like including the like, ooh, like you haven't heard this before.
It's all part of the illusion, Shannon.
God, Shannon.
So basically.
Boo.
So you get these lanterns and you write like wishes on them, and then you light them on fire and they float up into the sky. And the idea,
I've never heard of this concept.
I know, it's crazy. And the funny thing about it is, we didn't think about the consequences of this event, because I thought to myself, oh yeah, I'm thinking to myself, get a couple hundred people together, do that. It would look really cool, because the idea was to do it all at the same time. It was more like tens of thousands of people coming together.
I didn't know it was that many.
It was like around. It was at least a couple thousand. Because it says on all this stuff like 10,000 people.
Oh,
a
man.
10,000 star event. That's what it says.
And then 10,000 of those lanterns had to fall down.
Oh my god. So here was the first problem. I have one pet peeve in life. No, I have many, but the biggest one is that I can't fucking stand it when people can't follow directions.
Oh.
It's the easiest thing to do.
I'm amazed that you're friends with me because I have a lot of trouble following specific instructions.
But it's the easy things, right? So we were told, and it was on signs everywhere. They made announcements and everything. They were like, the whole point is for us to all release them at the same time. So don't light up your lantern until the countdown. And there were people like starting at about a half hour before the countdown was going to start who were lighting up their lanterns, and I was like,
test it out.
you guys are really ruining the vibe, and I was so mad about it. And like, and listen, it's my bachelorette party, so all of us are type A bitches, and we were like losing our minds because nobody was following the rules, and we were like, ah!
So this is a great event.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So I was like, I got to be angry at people. It was so great. So, you know, we get down to the countdown and, you know, we're trying to light these motherfuckers, which are hard. It was really windy and they gave us these tiny ass lighters. So we're like trying to light them on fire and we're having the worst time of it. And I'm still getting group chat messages. I'm going to throw this on the floor.
Yeah, we had such a good time, Shannon. I love you all. Woo, Bachelorette Party 2023.
So, and what ended up happening, though, was that it works like a hot air balloon. So what you were supposed to do was, like, light it close to the ground, wait for it to fill up with the hot air, like, to fill, and then you, like, slowly lift it up, and then you give it a little nudge, and then it goes up into the sky.
To explain it in parlance for our listeners, and according to Shannon and my sensibilities, it is like in Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. When you get a balloon, you attach it to a platform, and then you put either a flame emitter or, my personal favorite, a pile of wood on it, and just light it to burn it as it slowly ascends into the air.
Right, exactly.
But this time, the lanterns don't blink green for a couple of seconds and then vanish when...
Yeah, no, I watched. I made sure. So the problem was either you couldn't get it lit because there was a lot of wind, and so, you know, people were having issues with the lighters, or you got it lit and you didn't wait long enough to launch it. So, because you had to wait for it to fill with hot air because physics. And so it was... like there were people who would just throw it up into the air and it would like float for a couple feet and then come crashing down into the crowd of hundreds of people.
Thousands, 10,000.
Thousands. And oh my gosh, because all you could hear like all around was like, heads up, put out that fire. And I looked at my maid of honor and I'm going to say the same thing I said to you guys, and that is that it was equal parts beautiful and dangerous, and I thought that was exactly how my bachelorette party should be. I was hoping there would be screaming this weekend. I absolutely.
That should be your byline for every.
It's not a bachelorette party without some screams.
Yeah.
Equal parts dangerous and beautiful.
Because of people dying, so.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, there wasn't a disaster, so, I mean, because that would have been a cool story, but. And
yeah, just like that. What was it? That gender reveal party that caused like a wildfire in California years ago?
Oh my God! I mean, which one are you talking about?
Well, and the other reason why they wanted us all to do it at the same time is because they even said like the fire marshal wants us to wait for this specific time because we're waiting for the wind to die down, and yeah, I was just like, this must be an absolute. We had to sign waivers. I was like, this must be an absolute insurance nightmare. Like, absolutely ridiculous. And I was like, this is some shit right here.
But it's something you're obviously going to remember for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah. So. No, it was gorgeous. Like, the pictures were fantastic. There's a beautiful picture of me and my maid of honor, like, standing next to each other. And she's got, like, her head on my shoulder. And then there's another one where we're, like, looking lovingly into each other's eyes. And now it's my phone background. And my fiance was like, shouldn't we be looking at each other like that? And I'm like, we do.
Get yourself somebody who looks at you like that.
Exactly. So, but yeah, it was a really amazing experience. We got to really bond. There was a lot of crying. And
catharsis.
It was just like a beautiful thing. And I just thought it was so crazy how we had planned this event for, you know, that time in that area. Like our Airbnb was only like 10 minutes away from this festival. And like it all lined up that weird way. And it just makes me in awe of the universe and all the happy moments that come together without even trying.
I love it when things like that happen.
Yeah, so it was beautiful.
Was meant to be.
Yes, beautiful. It's gorgeous.
It was I'm glad that you had a good time at your bachelorette party.
Yeah. How did the axe... So Ryan said that you were weirdly good at the axe throwing.
I started off really hot, and then I kind of just cooled down. Like, I got a bullseye like on my second shot.
Nice.
And the guy was like, "Oh, you want to take a picture with it?" I'm like, "No, not really." And everybody mistook that as being like, "Oh, Hal thinks he's gonna get a lot more bullseyes," which I didn't. But Ryan hit like 3 of them. Him and his brother were very good.
Oh yeah, Connor. That was his gender reveal party for his son.
Throwing axes?
Throwing axes. Yeah, they had a. No, I'm not even fucking kidding you. They had a board with balloons, and inside the balloons was like the colored paint, and you threw the axes, and the idea was that if you got 3 in a row, that was the gender.
This is how babies are made, everyone.
Guys.
It wasn't really a gender reveal. It was like a gender
Suggestion party.
It was a gender puzzle.
Gender
God damn.
lottery? Or gender.
Well,
Gambling?
I mean, I was doing the math because that's the kind of person I am. I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, how does this math? And I was looking at it and I was like, okay, so you'd have to set it up so that there's only one right answer, right? So, like, basically, you would just have the 3 color. Like, if you have a 3 by 3 and you have 9 squares, right? You'd have like your 3, and then the other 6 would have to be the other color.
So you just can't have
so
3
confused.
of the other color next to each other.
Right. So I think the way it works is I think you have to do it as a diagonal. Does that make sense?
Yes, but what if they don't? What if they accidentally do it?
Well, then somebody fucked up. Somebody like really. Have you seen those like gender reveal fails of like they bite into the cupcake or whatever that has the color in, and there was like, is that fucking fuchsia? I don't know, or not. Fuchsia is pink, I guess. I was trying to think of a ridiculous color.
I think green is supposed to be gender neutral for those sort of things, right?
It was green or something, and they were like,
or yellow. Maybe?
I have also seen the ones where like whoever was supposed to set it up like put the wrong color in there, like blue instead of pink, and they had like, then the parents reacted and they're like, oh yay, and then they were like, actually it's the other one, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's just like Moonlight winning Best Picture at
Exactly.
the Oscars
Yes.
kind of thing. Oh, and by the way, La La Land didn't win.
I mean, that was
Thank
essentially my mom thought that my sister and I were going to be boys until we were born, but that wasn't. She asked the doctor what she wanted to know the sex of us. I can speak.
Yeah, no, that works. The grammars.
And the doctor was like, "Oh, you definitely have 2 baby boys coming," and so they like bought all boy clothes, and
You had like your finger in the wrong spot and you were like, ha ha,
Yeah.
joke's on
it was
you.
like, I don't know if they do it by picture or what, but they were like, "Look, it's a boy," or boys. 2 of them.
It's a boys.
And they until we popped out, they thought we were boys. So we were like tomboys for the first 3 months until we outgrew all the clothing.
Yeah, my parents had to scramble too because I don't remember if they just didn't, or if they thought I was going to be a boy, and like if everybody thought that, or if they just assumed. But they had a boy's name picked out, but they didn't have a girl's name, so I was going to be named Ian. And then I came out and they had to rethink their strategy. And then when my brother came along, they were like, well, we already have Shannon's leftovers, so we're just going to pop that Ian label right on this guy here.
Aw.
So that's how it happened.
Secondhand names.
I know. I was like, how do you like my sloppy seconds, Ian?
See, this is why you need to just pick gender-neutral names.
Yep, I love gender-neutral
I did that
names.
with my cats, and it worked out this time because I have a 3rd cat now.
Oh, yeah, what's the 3rd cat's name?
Well, I named her Billy.
Billy. Okay.
And then I found out she was a boy.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
So now he
is Billy. Yeah, but with a Y instead of an IE.
Yes, I did change. I was like, do I change it? Does IE work for? I'm changing it to a Y because it just doesn't feel like. He
won't know the difference. He can't spell.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, you never know. He could learn how to spell.
He could.
The small vibrating creature.
But it was. I should have known. I have 1 male cat and 1 female cat. Who I was like, if I ever get a 3rd cat, I feel like it needs to be a female because there's just going to be some territorial. And Lauren, when the other cat came in, was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "It's cool. It's just another female cat. You're going to be fine."
You were absolutely wrong.
They say psychologically
He was the one who knew.
some cats never adjust to other cats being in their spaces. Like dogs will eventually usually get along with each other. But cats are like it's the whole thing about cats holding grudges or things like that. Like
the cats remember.
Yeah.
They're definitely still growling at each other. But yesterday we spent a good like hour where everybody was just asleep in different parts of the living room. So I have hope.
Yeah. I have so that's really funny because I had 3 female cats for the longest time. And so it was me and 3 female cats, and I was like, this is great. This is a den of pussy power, and I love it.
Pussy power.
And I was like, this is the most feminist thing I can think of. Right. So when Happy came along, that was an accident because I had the door open and I heard
happy accident. Oh,
that's hilarious. I never thought about that.
You didn't? I thought that was on purpose.
It
my
was
God.
not actually. So when I had the door open and the screen door shut, because it was around this time of year, and I was like, it's beautiful out. I'm gonna turn off the AC and the heat and just let nature run its course. And I was cleaning, and I heard just the most awful, like, caterwauling, like, just crying. And I'm walking, and I go up to the door, and I look out, and walking down the street is the fattest cat I've ever seen in my life. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, wow. So I, like, grabbed a can of food, and I ran outside. And I was like,
that's your reaction to seeing a fat cat, is to give it more food.
Yeah, because he was hungry. That's why he was crying.
Needs food.
Aww.
He's been used to it.
Yeah. Well, so I went outside, and, like, I said, here, kitty, kitty, kitty. And he came right up to me. And I was like, this is not an outdoor cat. Because he was, like, laying in the street.
Aww.
And I was like, no, this is not fair. This is a house cat. This is someone's baby.
I thought about Billy, too.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that he had a snipped ear. And
That means he's neutered, right?
Yeah.
So TNR, I was assuming it was TNR. I mean, it could have just been like somebody bit his ear off, but but then also like that he was just so friendly and not skinny.
Yeah, exactly. So I said to myself, I was like, he's this giant male cat, and I have 3 female cats, and I had a cat that was probably about 2 years old at the time, and I hadn't gotten her fixed because I was like, I have all female cats. It's not like Jurassic Park. Nature is not going to find a way. So I was like, I'm going to, I don't really care. Well, I'm like,
So you had unfixed female cats?
Just one.
Oh,
the other 2 were fixed.
How did you deal with her being in heat?
It never became a problem.
Oh.
So
that's fascinating.
I never even noticed if she was in heat. Like,
that's
maybe she's asexual.
Yeah, because when when I first got Charlie, I asked the vet. I was like, is she fixed? I don't know. And they were like, well, we can't tell. And I was like, what do you mean you can't tell?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, unless we open her up.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. And they were like, well, basically you have to wait until she goes into heat to tell. And so I had to wait, and
she
was
did?
able to tell.
Oh my God.
She was so uncomfortable. She was meowing. She was like sticking her butt, and she also peed everywhere.
Okay. No, Athena never did that. She was just really she's always been a little skittish. Like, she doesn't like to be picked up, doesn't like to be held. Now, very recently, in the last year, she has started to sleep with us, which is insane. But she does not want to sit on your lap. And she doesn't want to be, like, held. So, but she'll, like, if I usually lay on my side, so she usually curls up, like, behind my knees, like, in between my legs and my thighs. And that's where she's nice and cute and cozy. Anyway.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So.
Let me tell you about my cats.
No, I could do that forever.
Ryan was actually doing that last night, too.
Informed.
Because Ryan was telling everybody about the cat songs that he's written. And I'm like, I've heard a couple of these because you've played them for me. Or, no, you've made me look them up while you were watching.
Can we also just, like, talk about how Ryan has become such a cat dad? Like, he literally was like, it was like your dad when you bring home a cat. Like, him coming into the apartment was like, he was like, these fucking cats. And then, like, now he's writing full-length songs about them. I'm just like, he fell in love.
He's been won over.
Yes, he has. So when I was like, I've got this male cat. But the thing was, I was afraid he wasn't going to survive the winter because I was like, he doesn't know what to do.
Fat.
Well, no, but like that might have carried him through. But like, I'm just like, he's laying in the street. He's going to get hit. Like, and he's way too friendly. Like, he's not going to run away from predators. So I was like,
he's not meant to survive in the wild.
For the winter.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm going to bring him inside. and I'll take him to the shelter tomorrow. And it's been 4 years, and I never did. So after I realized, after the first or second day, I was like, well, the least I need to do is figure out if he's fixed, because I know Athena's not fixed, because when I brought her home, she was as big as my hand. She was just out, I don't even think she was ready to be taken away from her mom, but I found her on Craigslist, and that's a whole other story. She was handed to me in a tote bag.
Oh my God.
So it ended up that I posted about it on Facebook. I was like, hey, please help me find this cat's owner. And I'm going around the neighborhood, trying to find this cat's owner. And then I come to find out that apparently people know that I live on that street. And so they've started abandoning their cats there in the hopes that I will pick them up.
Oh, no.
Oh my God.
But there's also a bunch of old ladies on that street too that do kind of the same thing. So I posted about it on Facebook, and they were like, well, can't you just keep him? And I'm like, I've got 3 female cats. I don't know what that's gonna do to the dynamic. And my oldest cat,
Come and
Allie,
join in our gang.
Allie is super pissy. And when she gets pissy. So one time when she didn't like a boyfriend that I had started dating, she peed on my head at 3 a.m.
Oh.
That's the cat's way of being like, Shannon, we have to talk.
We have a problem.
I do not like him. You need to dump him.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I need to figure out if he's fixed. So I Googled it. I was like, how do you know if a male cat is fixed? Because I've never had a male cat before.
Also just starts peeing everywhere.
There's a lot of reasons for that, because so Mario, my sweet baby who just died in July, Mario was a big peer. He would pee on people's bags and stuff like that all the time. And psychologically, apparently it was just he felt very insecure all the time in the house.
I mean, there's other reasons that cats will pee everywhere.
Oh yeah, there's 1,000 of them.
In terms of not fixed cats, I feel like it's peeing to mark your territory as opposed to peeing because they're
mad,
upset about something.
Yeah, or if they're sick, they'll do that too. Especially if they have a urinary.
It's more like spraying than peeing.
Yeah, and you can tell the difference.
Yep,
absolutely.
The thing you'd said too about not being able to tell if your cat was male or female. Either of you ever watched Community?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the one of the jokes I thought was funniest was hey, Troy thinks that all cats are girls. Have you ever seen a penis on a cat? Tell me.
I mean, if Homeward Bound. God.
There you go.
Sassy.
I was trying to figure out where you were going
Homeward
with
Bound told us anything. That's all that it's. Cats are girls and boys are dogs.
That's right.
What?
Oh, that's right.
That was not.
Dogs are boys.
Dogs are boys.
Boys are dogs, but
dogs rule
I
and
digress.
cats rule. That Homeward Bound almost scarred me as a child.
Oh God, who didn't?
Well, did you ever I haven't been able to confirm this story, but I heard someplace that Shadow was supposed to die in Homeward Bound at the end.
Excuse me?
Yeah, but the test screenings were so traumatizing to children that they rewrote it because think about the end. Shadow is in the bottom of a fairly big pit. He's an old guy. He can't get up, and he's saying to just.
That would have been the worst narrative arc that ever existed.
We would all collectively hate Homeward Bound.
Yeah, no, it would not have been popular.
It would be the new Bambi.
But think about this. They never show how he gets out. They just show him at the end that he somehow got out.
But I like that. I like that they don't explain it.
Yeah.
But it's because the original ending was he was going to die in that pit.
Well, that makes sense. That would kill me. There is an alternate universe somewhere that has a very scarred Shannon.
Yeah.
Just incredibly scarred.
I feel like the making of would scar you enough.
Probably.
I don't know if you know anything about.
No, and I don't want doobies.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, Happy's balls. What I had to do was
I had these balls.
So Happy.
I thought you said
no.
I had
Happy's Happy's balls, because what they said you had to do was feel the balls, and if they were hard,
so you
then
did have these balls.
No, I literally had them in my hand, and Happy was not pleased. He was not happy, but he was, and so
These are my balls. These aren't your balls, Mom.
So I felt them. I was like, oh no, he's not fixed. So I ended up posting about it on Facebook, and this old lady reached out to me, and she was like, well, why can't you keep him? And I'm like, because I have a female that's not fixed, and he's not fixed. And I was like, I don't have the money to get them fixed. I need someone to take him. And she was like, well, if he was fixed, would you consider keeping him? And I'm like like if I have to. Like I can't. Like I couldn't bear to take him to a shelter, and he was so handsome, and I just love him so much. And so she was like, well, let me tell you, there's this trap and release program thing, and if you give me, I was like, if you give me the cats temporarily, I'll get them fixed. It'll cost you $35 a cat, and then you can have them back. And I'm like, okay, bet. So I gave her the cats, and they got them fixed. Well, what I didn't realize, first of all, she was like, don't tell them that they're coming home with you because it's a trap and release. They don't do pets. So it's like, so I was like, I found this underground cat fixing ring with a don't ask, don't tell policy.
We're just releasing them
into my house.
like, in a different spot than normal. It's fine.
So I sent them out. They got fixed. Well, what I didn't recognize is, and I figured they would mark them. I knew about like the clipping or the tattoos and things like that. I figured they would do something. And when they came back, I had a heart attack because they took like the entire upper fourth of their ear.
Aww.
And I was shocked. And I was
Happy.
like, did it have to be that much? I was like, my goodness. So both of them now have like half their ear missing. And I had somebody ask me about it, and I was just like, yeah, I got them fixed, and through the program that they got fixed through, they took them. They just took them.
Wow.
So if you have a cat that you need fixed, just pretend that you're going to trap and release them to get a discount neutering.
As long as you're cool with his ears being gone.
Yeah. What was really hilarious.
Billy has a cut ear too, so.
Right. Well, the old lady who like got me fixed up with this, she was just like, I was talking to her on the phone, and so she had never seen me, and she was like, yeah, just don't tell them how cute they look when they cuddle with your grandkids. And I'm like, I'm like 22.
Yikes.
And she was like, what are you doing with all these cats? And I was like, don't. And
excuse me.
But here, let me tell you what I've learned.
Move over, Warren Bobert. You're no longer the youngest grandmother.
Exactly. What I've learned, though, about being 27 and having 4 cats is it's not too many cats to find love. And that's, I'm getting married, so screw the rest of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, if anything, that means you should get more cats because there's a direct
Just test the
correlation
boundaries.
between your love life success and the number of cats that you've had.
That is actually, I never thought of that before. Hold on.
Oh, I love finding
Hold
correlation
on a
without
goddamn
causation.
minute. Oh my God. I love that.
I've actually been thinking about getting a cat for my house because
you absolutely should.
I know someone who has a kitten that they're trying to find a home for.
ooh,
There
maybe.
are a bunch of cats. I was just reading a post for the town I live in that there are cats that are like out there and breeding and such, and they are going to be looking for homes for them.
Well, that's my funny cat stories all revolve around when I worked at the track on the back lot because there were packs of feral cats back behind Penn National Racecourse. And it was interesting because there was almost a weird code because there were also barn cats that were supplied by they were domesticated just to keep out vermin. And the wild cats didn't go into barns. They didn't mess with the barn cats, which you'd imagine a whole pack of cats would throw down to try to get a barn. But there was this one sad cat that they picked on so badly that was so wrangled, he didn't get any food or anything, and he would always just walk around the perimeter of the track every single day. And so I just would film him with my camera in between races just to see what was going on. I called him Mr. Bad Luck.
I love that.
And eventually they got a call from the stewards and the judges who could all see the camera feeds even if they were offline because they had to see everything. They were like, Hal, the stewards would kindly like to request that you please stop showing them footage of that cat.
Who would say that? Who would be like
I'm going to show
He
this
was
cat
very-
until somebody takes
He
care
was
of
very
it.
raggedy. Mr. Bad
But
Luck.
the thing is, I don't know. If I was in those shoes and I'd be looking at all these racing cars and stuff, and all of a sudden a cat appeared, I'd live my best life. I would only go back to that job so I could return to the saga of
Everybody
Mr.
likes
Bad Luck.
Well, if you would like to go to the track on the back lot, I'm sure there are several other Mr. Bad Lucks out there who would make horrible house pets that...
I've always said, because I've had friends that are like, oh, I'd like to get a cat. And they talk about going to PetSmart and the Humane Society and stuff like that, and which is totally fine. You can do that. It's just you don't have to. Do not ever pay money to get a cat because they are on the street. They are free. You can just pick them up.
I mean, you
and
have to
take
check
them
to make sure it's not somebody
that's
else's
true.
cat.
Yeah, that's
But that's essentially so. Billy, I walked out of Rite Aid, and Billy was in the Rite Aid parking lot, crossed the parking lot, and meowed at me. And then I turned,
You're like, that's my cat now.
and he like came towards me, let me pet him, let me pick him up. I was like, "Are you chipped?" "No." We're gonna get you checked out. And he wasn't chipped. And I posted everywhere. I was like, this has to belong to somebody.
There's something on TikTok that I'm loving right now, and it's showing up on my For You page because the algorithm works. It's the cat. It's the cat distribution system.
Yes, I've seen that.
Explain to me and our audience
so
what the cat distribution
true.
system is.
So it's all these videos of people who just find cats.
The universe gives you a cat.
Yep. And like sometimes, and it'll happen at any time. And actually, it's happened to me several times, but I haven't taken the distribution system up on it because
Yeah, right.
I can't. Like I've got too many. It's because fucking Duncannon has too many cats. So
I got cat blocked. My first cat my first cat gift.
oh
Yeah, my roommate gave her away. Him away? I
my
can't
God,
remember. It
why
was a
would
while
you
ago.
do that?
Because we weren't allowed to have cats.
Heartless, soulless.
That we were
That's
in.
why you just pretend like you don't have cats, and then when they come to inspect, you like make them sit really still, and you're just like, "That's my stuffed animal."
Just like
very
an
lifeless.
E.T.
Or it'd be like, I also asked Ryan if he'd be okay, like, because Allie just turned 9. Her birthday was on
Oh, so she's an older girl.
Yeah, she just, I made her birthday the same day as my dad's birthday because I knew she was born in September, but I didn't know what day in September, so it's just the same day as my dad.
I just celebrate all my cats' birthdays at the same time.
And how do the cats feel about that, Sam?
They don't really know what's going on.
Well,
They
see,
just know that they
yeah.
get treats. So
So basically, same thing. Like, I know the months that Bones, Allie, and Athena were born. Because like I knew roughly how old they were when I got them, but Happy, like I have no fucking clue. So I just assumed that he's like really close to the same age as Allie because they're
I really
like
only
similar.
know one of my cat's birthdays. So
Yeah.
that's everybody's birthday.
But I like to think that he came into my life on his birthday. That I was like, it was a little present for him. Now, the thing about the cat distribution system is that, like you said, it's not fair. It's not fair because it's like I do not have the capacity for more cats. Please stop.
I'd like to humbly return this cat, please.
So there are a lot of stray cats in the neighborhood, and Ryan and I do feed them. And we have names for them, even though like they probably already have names. And there's actually one that's like an indoor-outdoor cat that actually does belong to a neighbor, and we did check. And it's a Siamese, and his name is Simon.
Oh,
And I'm just like, that's the perfect name for a
Yeah,
Siamese cat.
perfect.
Sorry.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Sam.
My other favorite one is this white cat that has like orangish, brownish spots, and
Oh,
their name is Toast.
toast.
Yeah. So, and there's also S'mores, and it's a black and white cat. And Shadow is an all-black cat. So yeah, there's a few. So if you need a cat, Duncannon's the place to be.
Let's go to Duncatten. Yeah, Lauren said she had some outdoor cat friends that used to be in her backyard area because she also lives like in the sticks. And I think somebody ended up adopting them, but they were all like because she gave them Hobbit names and referred to them as the Hobbitses.
That's a good way to get them adopted.
Yeah, it was
I
Frodo,
love-
Samwise, and I think
Pippin or Mary.
I don't think it was either of those two.
I named my hamster Pippin.
It may have been Bilbo.
I had to get rid of
good cat's name, actually.
Yeah, I would.
Galley, yeah.
I have our officiant. He has a dog and a cat, and the dog's name is Artemis, which is not Lord of the Rings, but the cat's name is Eowyn.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh, that's so cute.
that's a good one.
Yeah. And my mom, her maid of honor, best friend, had a cat, and it was a big, brown, long-haired cat, and his name was Gimli. And I
That's
loved him.
Lauren's dog's name is
Yeah.
Gimli.
I also have met a cat named Legolas, which is really great.
I feel like that would be a really good name for a three-legged cat.
Legolas. Ah.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My ex-boyfriend, his family had barn cats and stuff, and one was missing a leg, and his name was Tripod.
Aw.
But I do love online all of these shelters and stuff out there that give some ridiculous ass names to cats, and it's just I love 3 types of names for animals.
We've talked about this because we don't like it when people names are.
No,
right.
It's grown on me. It's grown on me.
Cats.
Yeah,
It's a little different. Like like you have a Charlie and a Lauren. We're talking about like if you name your cat Mike, for instance, or Dan.
I mean, Billy.
Billy. Yeah.
Billy is in the spectrum of acceptable human
If
cat
it ends
names.
in E, it's acceptable. Like
Yeah.
E,
My friend calls Charlie Chuck. And
I love it.
It's wonderful.
Sure.
Well, I've found out, and I've seen it on the internet, and I never really thought about it before. But the fact that, like, if you name your pet a people name, then you can use them to get out of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you talked about this.
Exactly. So I love I've learned to love people names for pets. I'm a convert. And then food names for pets is the best thing in the entire world. I will always.
See, that's my pet peeve.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain.
I just. It's something you see on Twitter a lot. It's like this picture of this cat, and they're like, their name is the last thing you ate, and I'm like, you guys need to be more creative.
Oh no, okay, I get that. Like, I definitely want you to put thought in it. But first of all, okay, let me give you an example. Okay. I used to go to this McDonald's all the time, and they had a cat that lived in the parking lot, and his name was Nugget.
Aww.
Isn't that the
I
cutest
guess
thing
if
you've
it's
ever
like-
heard?
If it has a connection to
Yeah.
something.
I had a friend who got a cat actually from Hershey Park when he worked in games there, and they named him Parker because they found him in the park. So I thought that was a cute little idea.
When I worked at Marshall's, somebody, and this happened a lot in those stores, only once in my store, but like you heard stories about it through the Marshall's TJ Maxx grapevine, that like people would abandon pets in the pet section in these department stores.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So one day when I was off, somebody did that, and there was a kitten, and it got into our warehouse, and so the manager was like chasing it around, and he ended up taking the cat home, and he named her Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I love that.
Yeah, it was very cute. Yeah, I could talk about cats. I could have a whole separate podcast for
That's what
cats.
this is going to be called. This episode is going to be,
cat
let me
podcast.
tell you about my cats.
The podcat.
The podcast.
Podcasts.
Did you guys just start a new podcast
think
on
we
the
might
other side of the table?
I think we did.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my cats.
Let me tell you about my fuzzy friend.
Yeah. I do love the cats. Like, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the reason Mario had that name was because him and his brother were both dumped in the neighborhood, and they were Mario and Luigi.
I love that.
Did they have mustaches?
Say what?
Did they have mustaches?
No, but they had red and green collars for the first parts of their lives until they hated their collars. But Luigi disappeared at one point. He probably was similar to
do.
Happy.
He needed to find another castle to.
Your princess is in another castle.
Yeah. Mario, he went out looking for him for a long time after that and could never find his brother again. But, Mario lived it. Mario was 15 and a half by the time that he passed away.
Wow.
And it was very sad, but,
Yeah.
our cat friends don't
Hey,
stay
why
with
does
us
this
forever.
button say cough?
So that when you hit it, and like I do it when I take a sip, so that you can't hear when you don't have headphones on. You can't.
She just did that for no reason.
Well, you can't.
If I go,
It like.
Oh, man, you're just...
Okay, please stop. Sorry.
It hurts.
Although it kind of sounded, there's an echo, so like you can't hear it fully from, like it turns your mic off, but you can hear your voice through our microphone, so it made like this.
Ooh, that was actually kind of spooky.
It kind of sounded like ooh. It was pretty great.
Yeah, it sounded like the beginning of a Disturbed song.
Yeah, it was
this
good.
one says talk back.
I don't know what the talk back button does. I don't think anyone does.
It's in case anybody gets really sassy, you put them on notice.
Oh shit.
I have
Time out.
no idea what it means.
Yeah. See, none of us knows. But it's a good question. It's a good question.
So yeah, after 45 minutes of talking about cats, we did bring Sam on for a somewhat of
It
a
was
purpose.
to talk about the cats.
Yeah, talk about the cats.
And her beautiful scarf.
Yeah, the scarf is. I'm a huge fan of that scarf.
Let's.
We'll put a
describe it
picture of
for-
the scarf.
We'll take a picture. We'll
I
It's
brought
a
my.
fall scarf because
left
it
my
is
purse in
fall
the car.
now.
we'll take it with
I
my
don't
phone.
actually think it is fall technically.
It is
feels
very
like
close.
fall.
Like 4 days. Yeah.
I consider today to be fall because I was like, this is the first day that it was below like 70
it was
degrees.
chilly.
It was 58 when we left my house.
Yeah.
So
It's the first day in forever that it's been below 70 degrees. It was raining. I wore my cardigan and I got apple cider, so it's fall.
But I still have.
And I'm
sandals
wearing
on.
my duck boots.
I'm still wearing shorts because I didn't realize, like when Sam and I were leaving my house, like to come over here, I didn't realize how cold it was outside. So I wanted to grab like a sweatshirt and none of them were in like my doorway. So I'm like, oh, I guess I have to find out where I put all of my hoodies now. So
Yeah.
Get all that
Time
going.
to unpack the winter clothing.
Sam, I haven't unpacked boxes of clothing from when I moved into my house, and I've been there almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I always say, like, I'm going to pack up the clothing for the seasons, and then I never do. So it's just sitting in the corner of my room.
Back to why we have Sam on the
Sorry.
podcast.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. It's our fault. I didn't take my second round of meds today.
This is all about, like, wherever the conversation goes. Like,
Why am
back
I
to my
on this
original points.
Why am I on this podcast?
Why
I
are
don't
any of us
fucking
here?
know.
Like, we just
Jesus.
woke up and came to self-awareness in a studio where we were recording a podcast, and that was the beginning of our lives.
Yeah, it was.
It's like Severance. So,
Anyway, Horror Vidjam.
yeah, Vidjam of Horror is actually, that's starting in 10 days, I want to say.
10 days.
Or it'll be 9
starting-
tomorrow.
It's like on a Wednesday, which I don't know if that's normal.
I don't think it is.
No. These have always been starting like in the middle of the week because Sam
No, that's fair. I feel like if it happens, I immediately forget.
I just never start it until like late in the game. So,
that's fair.
although with the one, Shannon and I are trying to do a musical.
It's nice.
So
It's nice that it's on a Wednesday because then you have several days to plan.
yeah, well, that's it. He's always wanted like 2 weekends was kind of the idea.
Yeah, that makes
to do
sense.
that. But yeah, I have no idea how we're going to pull off the musical idea.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. In
A-
fact, I wanted to
a
talk.
horror musical.
Well, Ryan's been working on his songwriting chops.
Well,
so.
I was thinking like because so I haven't written anything for the story yet again,
Right.
but I have been playing around on piano a little bit to see if I could find some hooks that might be good for like
That's
a
fair, yeah.
big
I
song.
feel like that counts. You can definitely like store up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
your
I'm
tunes.
I'm towing the line a little bit here, but I have I think a pretty good hook like in mind for it. But my skill as a piano player is not good enough to pull it off more effectively. So I was actually thinking about asking if Ryan wanted to
Oh, absolutely.
come and record the piano parts because it's a pretty basic chord progression with just like 2 key changes. But you know, I'm just
sure he'll be.
Well, you can't
pleased as punch.
record until that.
no,
Right,
we're not
yeah.
going to record.
No.
But I feel like if you have like generic ideas for music,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm bullshitting right now, but I feel like it's not like you're writing the song. You're just
Right.
preparing.
Yeah.
We're getting in the right headspace for it. So
Yeah.
My team always meets ahead of time and is like, "What do you want from this?" And so we'll decide like. Like a goal that we have before we get the prompt.
I've had
Yeah.
there have been some people on teams that I've been with who are good friends of mine and I like a lot, but they've occasionally clapped back at me for like not planning more ahead of time or writing a story ahead of time because and I've always been like, no, we're gonna follow the spirit of the law. We're not gonna write anything. Well, the response I've gotten from some of them is literally everyone else is doing
That
this.
is not
Hal.
true.
That's what I say.
Not true.
Very
What did
not.
I say about following the rules? I get really, really picky about it.
So,
We
yeah.
have so much fun on the night of. We get the prompt or the prop as
The prop.
the Vidjam of Horror. I guess we should explain Vidjam of
Oh,
Horror.
yes.
Oh
Please,
yeah,
sorry.
a little bit.
Sorry, we just have very strong opinions.
We're
about
just
Vidjam of
assuming
Horror.
everybody here knows how it goes,
So,
but
Vidjam of Horror is it a 10-day? No, 12-day?
I think it's 11 this
11,
time.
okay. It's a longer video filmmaking challenge than the normal weekend challenges that Vidjam normally does, and it's horror themed. And instead of giving all the teams one prompt, which is usually like a phrase or a saying or whatever, a couple words, this one, every team gets a separate prop that they have to use, and it has to show up in their story. And which makes it even cooler because then you, at least for my team, we like center. I mean, that you should center the story around
Yes.
the prop. I've seen a lot of times where people just like,
Oh, shit, the prop.
shoehorn it in. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, we forgot to write
And
a
I've
scene
seen-
with the prop.
I've
in
seen
it,
lots
so-
of people who've just like thrown in the prop as an afterthought into what
Which
they
is
want.
sad because it's that's like, I mean, it's not sad. I'm not gonna like, okay, I can be against people who do that without being like inflammatory against them. So I'm sorry for those people who do that.
But
To
it's
each
the
their
point
own.
of the thing.
I will note that like the way that
yeah,
the rubric,
it's like taking that idea or the prop and being like, what could we do with this? And that's
Right.
like where all the inspiration stems from.
the
I think that's
like
fun.
like I was saying, the rubric. I think we designed it specifically this way that you can do that. Like you can throw the prop in just as an afterthought,
You
but
just get less points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the penalty
For the rubric.
the penalty that you assess for not really integrating the prop into your movie will probably sink you for a lot of awards if that's what you want. Like, I mean, it's not everybody's.
I think that's fair.
That
I
was
mean,
only recently that it got added. Like the first few years, they didn't have that.
In fact, I remember this was something, I think Ryan Spar said this to us when they
He
were.
might have been the reason that they added it.
Well, they were, so I'm not going to say whose movie. I mean, it's a friend of mine and everything, but there was one movie that I thought was really, and this was like 4 years ago, was maybe the best movie or maybe the second best movie in the bunch. But the prop that they gave, they did not use at all. Like they literally just threw it in as an afterthought in one scene. And the movie was really beautiful and it was really interesting. It was very tenderly done, beautifully shot, acted, edited. And Ryan even said that when we were having our postmortem, he was like, yeah, I really liked that movie. I thought it was the best, but they clearly just shoehorned in the prop, so I couldn't give them max points.
Right.
And that did sink them for a couple of awards, I think.
well, so that's what it comes back to in terms of like those following the rules, like instructions kinds of things. Because like last night I was getting frustrated because the whole point was for us to release them all at the same time so that it would be like a sky full of these lanterns. It would
Yeah.
look really cool.
It takes away
Same-
from the objective.
Right, and that's what I really love about Vidjam overall is like, and that's why I get real like whenever people are like, "Oh, you have to prepare more ahead of time."
You
It's
were
like,
definitely part of the team in particular.
I
but
know which
yeah.
one you're. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
The thing
And-
is that for
yeah.
Vidjam, and not everybody treats it this way, but I like to treat it this way.
It's part
is
of the
that
fun,
it's,
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
an exercise
Exactly.
to stretch yourself.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, it's
that's
not,
what I like
it's
about
not like
it.
you're. I mean, some people take their films and then submit them to festivals or whatever, which is great. I think that's cool that we are a community that is like creating content that is good enough to submit to other places.
Yeah.
From a challenge that is
Yeah.
like so short. Like if usually it's hard to create something with such like quality content in that short a period of
Yeah.
time.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
but regardless of how quality you make it, which like that, obviously that's the goal, but like it's still about like stretching your creativity and like seeing what you can do with what you have.
Exactly.
And sometimes, like, there were, like, I think I mentioned this story before because Shannon was also part of this Vidjam in a little way. But, like, what was it? 2 years ago, we wrote a script for our particular project that, like, needed a child actor, and the couple that were going to provide him suddenly were not available to provide him anymore. And so it was what I thought was one of the best Vidjam scripts I ever wrote. And I, like, plucked out my hair. Like, Summers couldn't help me with a kid. Like, nobody could help me with a kid. And actually, Gary came to me after, like, he could see I was pulling my hair out trying to get this movie made as we were running out of time. And our prop were, like, these little dental tools. And he's like, Hal, why don't we just shoot a silly movie about a killer dentist instead? And that's how The Dentist came to
Yep.
be. And that was really, like, one of the more fun and I don't want to say low stakes, but, like, low pressure movies that we made.
That was 2 years ago because I was looking through. I had a Facebook memory today, and the one from last year is a picture of Ryan and I at karaoke the night before he proposed to me.
Oh.
And the year before that is me. I took a picture of them tearing up the sidewalk near my house because I had COVID, and also Ryan and I were broken up.
Oh, I forgot you had COVID during that time. That was another reason that
Yep.
you. But Ryan and her both managed to be in the movie, Sam, despite the fact that they were broken up. Like, we just filmed them in two different eras, actually.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So that's a fun little tidbit.
Yeah, but Horror Vidjam is, I think it's my favorite one, even though
Yeah.
the pressure is usually a lot higher just because you have more time to do things, so it's harder to schedule people. Like, I feel like every year I waste so much time up front being like, I got plenty of time. And then it's like, no, we got to film tonight until 1 a.m. if we want any hope of finishing this.
Yeah. Well, and so that's why, like, this time, and we can talk about it more, but like, I want to be like more involved, and so because I have time this time around.
Yeah, I'm circling off a lot of time too. And
Yeah.
I'm also not shutting the door necessarily on our original idea to try to do 2 of these. But I have to, like, cordon off enough time to do it. So
Yeah. I mean, depending on how quickly we can pull together, like, a really, really good one, and then maybe we'll do like a
Yeah.
I don't know. But I was really disappointed last year because I signed up to do a team because I was going to do my first Vidjam with my own team.
Oh.
And things got really crazy.
That's
all
right.
at
You did
once.
sign up for a team. I forgot about that.
My prop was a ball of twine, and it's still sitting in my apartment. Just as a reminder of my failure.
Yeah, the props. I love it's kind of cool because like Sam Miller and I are usually the ones who assemble the props like in two different waves, and we both have different sensibilities about them. Like Sam gets a lot of hardware type of things and like normal objects, and I kind of go fishing for like creepy, weird things in thrift store. In fact, Sam, you probably saw some of the props I had on my kitchen table.
I tried not to look because I didn't want to like absorb the information and think of ideas. So I saw as soon as you were like, "Oh, those are the props," I was like, "Yeah, avert your eyes."
But there were so many. Like one of the things I got last year was like the chalice, which went to Mike Fisher, and he did what I thought was one of the more inventive Vidjams with it, because he did like very After Effects heavy recreations of the tarot that involved cups essentially. And it was very cool. Like
that was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to convince him to do one again this year softly, but he it took a lot of work and a lot of stuff for that for him.
That
so
was very time consuming, I imagine.
Yeah, but it was cool. They shot it mostly at WITF, like in front of green screens, and he just was working on it like crazy for like 2 weeks. He actually attempted to do a similar Vidjam 3 years ago for like our online horror one. In fact, some of the footage even made it into the trailer, but he just couldn't finish it in time, and then that became a thing. But
yeah, it happens.
Trying to think of other props of mine that got used last. Oh, the golden egg was. Do you remember that one?
I forget. Oh yeah, who did that one?
That was Sam Miller. Actually,
okay.
He got the golden egg because it was like this weird. It was like $2 at a community aid, and it was like this giant like golden Fabergé metal egg on top of a holder. And Sam got it, and he made this movie about like this sort of like video game loudmouth streamer who had been being fed these chicken nuggets that were forcing him to hatch, like poop out this golden egg.
That's hysterical.
It was so funny. And it was such an interesting like application of the prop.
All I can think about is the original Willy Wonka and those giant golden eggs.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking with the chute and the,
That's kind of what it looked like a little bit.
Yeah.
What were some of your favorite props, Sam? Do you remember any movies in
God.
particular?
Of mine or just of?
Just in general, or you could say both.
It's hard to remember like what the props were after all of that, saying like you should definitely include your prop in the story.
Oh man,
process.
I could.
And I'm like, wait, what were the props?
Oh man, if you named a Vidjam movie, I could tell you what the prop was in there immediately, because even the ones that didn't use it, like I remember Ben.
I remember my films, like what props we used, but for other films, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't mean to call out Ben in this regard, but like he did a really interesting horror Vidjam a couple of years ago that was like on another planet or something like that. But he was one of the examples I think of all the time where he didn't really include. He got a mask for his prop, like a surgery mask, and it was just like on a spider web or something in one scene, which again a shame because it was a very good movie otherwise. And but yeah, you guys, if you're gonna do a team, integrate that prop. It's really not that hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So one of my favorite uses of props for my own team, I can't speak to other teams because I am sorry. I'm selfish. I don't remember other people's props.
You selfish bastard.
But we got goggles for the prop, and Josh Wacker, who is like art department like gold. If you ever want your film to just have beautiful art department, get Josh Wacker on.
Steal Josh Wacker from Sam's team.
I'm sorry. I guess what I should say is find someone like him.
Get yourself at somebody who looks at art like Josh Wacker.
He took these normal goggles, like they were clear. They had like an elastic strap. That was it. And he like turned them into this like masterpiece where it was like all these wires going everywhere and like cogs and like all this digital stuff, and we turned them into like goggles that enabled someone to be able to see, but then also like per the script it was also like the person could see the future, and so it was like transform. And it was so cool, and I think that was the only time that we won best use of prop. Because it was just like such a cool, like it was the same prop, but it was like transformed so much, and I was like, hell yeah.
I remember that one. I think I really
Yeah,
did.
that was the dentist one because that was the one I didn't get to. I identify every Vidjam by whatever movie we had in there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it wasn't about dentists.
no, the
Yours
dentist
was,
vid.
okay.
I'm trying to think. So yours have been. Let me try to remember. A flashlight, DVD-Rs were the last one. The goggles, and a paintbrush. Was that the?
It was an apron.
An apron. Okay, because you did the the Bob Ross murder movie. I remember too.
That's so cool.
That was an interesting.
You still have the painting in your living room too
I
that
do.
you made from
I actually
that.
painted that. It's a painting of me dead as an old woman in my.
Whoa.
Well, I would say it's my dining room, but it was dressed to look like in a living room. So
That's
That-
meta.
it was one of the funner things I ever saw Ashley do. I think just like
Oh,
play.
she did a great job. It was
She was
just
so
the
good.
sound was we gave up on the sound at some point, so it's painful to watch.
But like you were saying, like Vidjams are kind of exercise. Like there's gonna be sometimes bad sound or bad things, and you just kind of have to roll with it and figure out what to do. And it's all part of the process. Like it sucks if bad sound sinks your movie, but it was all about the learning and the
I will
fun.
say
Yeah.
the one time that we didn't have Will to do sound.
This will be my 4th horror Vidjam, and I was thinking about like the props we had, and what's really funny is that I was thinking back to Barnaby, and I was like, we didn't have props.
Yeah,
but it was because of COVID.
Yeah, that was the year we didn't do props. We did prompts instead,
Yeah.
and we got
Bad luck.
we got clowns and bad luck. We gave everybody
Yeah.
2 prompts to work with, so that
Was
they.
everybody different prompts for that? I
Yeah.
couldn't remember.
Yeah, because like Wallace, for instance, was birds, and that's why Nest,
Yes.
like
mine was
Crescentia, they had.
nuclear fallout and something to do with like
Oh, you had it was
relationship turmoil.
it
And we
was-
did both of them. We
Yeah,
combined
that was a really good one.
commitment.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, it was really good, and
it was
and then
not. It was.
I liked
Well,
it.
what actually filmed or what actually played for the screening
Mm-hmm.
was a messed up version of it that didn't have the sound that would explain what was happening.
I thought it was
so a
pretty.
lot of people were like, "What the hell is going on?"
It was a cool location too
was
because
my
you
bad.
shot it like a bunker out in the
Yeah.
woods too.
We put it online with the correct sound, so you should watch that instead.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, sorry. I just lost my train of thought, and then obviously like the dental tools, and then the alarm clock,
Yeah, Alarm Clock was last year. Dental Tools were the year before. Then it was Barnaby.
and
then,
that was Barnaby was my first one.
Yeah, and I did 2 other ones. We got the security camera for what that might have been my favorite Vidjam movie I did. Period was Jasmine and Suji, like as counselor and counselee after a
yeah.
woman, and Gary as like Gary was the villain.
Nice.
That was good.
Yeah, we shot that in my neighbor's mansion because I was house sitting for him at the time, and had lots of like really creepy like inside locations. So it was a lot of fun because like so many of these Vidjams, I don't know if this is how it is for you, Sam, but like a lot of the time it ends up kind of being I do everything for all like behind the scenes, and I don't have a lot of help doing things. But with that particular one, it was fun because it was literally just me, Suji, Gary, and Jasmine involved in it. And there were never more than 3 of us on set at the same time. So a lot of it was just kind of like, hey, this would be really cool if you popped out here creepily or something like that. And so we just had a lot of fun just making up things on the spot that would be scary to throw into the
Yeah.
movie. So I really enjoyed that one. And the other prop we got was the very first one I did. We got a gas mask because that was one of the few ones I've been lucky enough to work with Ashley on, because usually you get Ashley on your
Steal
team.
her.
You don't steal her. You had her from the beginning. But Ashley and I wrote we co-wrote the script, and it was like an escape room, essentially, where we put 6 people in, and like the goal of the escape room was the last person standing got a single gas mask because poison was filling the entire place. And the twist was that the gas mask was poisoned too. So just everybody died.
Nice.
It was I really enjoyed it. It was the only movie I've ever seen where Ashley had to be a cold-blooded killer by the end of it.
Fair.
Because like the way the movie worked out was that her and Gary became friends and figured out all the puzzles together. And then when push came to shove, she ended up killing him and taking the mask. Yeah, that was a fun one. Like,
spooky.
it's so much fun to think about all these movies. Like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of other people's fun movies. Wallace's movie that he did with Julie Pyle about the woman who was like going through dementia treatment was also.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the more beautiful
I liked that one a
of the
lot.
Vidjams. Trying to think about some other good ones that we saw too, like over the years.
Oh God.
All I can think about is guinea pigs.
Oh yeah, because Chris Rupert is big into the guinea
That
pig.
was amazing.
Yeah.
Very pig trouble.
Yes. Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we've had a wide variety. Like, it's been interesting too, because I'll have to look at the list, but there have been a lot of people who have submitted just like one movie one time and then never done another Vidjam. And specifically, the horror one tends to bring out a lot more people.
I think, yeah, it's just because it's so themed, people get excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Mark Dundor has never done I believe him and his crew, what are they, the Watson Rye crew is what they're called. They do a horror Vidjam almost every year, but they've never done a 48-hour. And a couple people I've talked to have said that too. Like, they don't like the concept of trying to do a movie in 2 days, but they will do the long challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, Vidjam in general I was thinking about this the other day, and there have been like probably 200 movies or more produced through Vidjam in like the 6 or 7 years it's been around. So,
and they get better every year.
I know everybody always gets better, which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. I think the last one I did was number 17. So, and I had statistics written down actually who the biggest submitters were, because Lily Compton was the biggest ever submitter, because she had done 19, I think, because she had done almost every single one, although she missed the last couple. So.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, because she's now a full-fledged adult teenager and has other things to do, like make other movies that are not Vidjam movies.
That's true. Isn't she making a feature film?
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I don't know if that. I just remember seeing a post or something that she was looking for actors for.
That's cool.
It was. I think at the beginning of the summer I saw the post, so I don't know if she made it over the summer or if she was just. I don't know. I should ask her about that before talking about it. Maybe it was definitely a public post.
Well, that's okay. Yeah.
I didn't get to see a ton because I had to come after work. I didn't see a ton of the movies in theater last year for the Horror Vidjam, but I did get to see hers, because hers was like third to last, about like it was Nora going to live with her grandfather or something.
Oh.
And I thought that was like low key one of the better movies, because I saw the other ones, but I saw them like on the small screen. I wish I had seen Wallace's. Return to Me was actually my favorite of the whole bunch of last year's Horror Vidjams. No disrespect to Sam.
I don't care.
But just like, there were some like, I've talked about this a lot, especially like when he's been on the podcast, but there were some like long shots of Lisa like walking through fields and forests with her flashlight that looked like an actual like a real movie backdrop. I was very impressed by that movie. Yeah, but Horror Vidjam, if y'all are interested, I do have the dates available on my phone because I looked it up. It is an 11-day challenge this year.
September 27th to October 8th.
Yes.
Nice.
Props are released at 7 p.m. on September 27th, and your movie has to be in by 7 p.m. on October 8th. Or if it's gonna be a little late, let us know.
Don't say that.
Don't say that.
No late.
It has to be on time.
It has to be on time.
Do we know when the screening is going to be?
I believe it's going to be October 28th. We haven't We've been discussing it, but I'm excited because it's during my vacation this year if it's October 28th.
It is very close to Halloween, which is like exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to do it on Halloween one year.
It
I
was
remember.
the dentist year.
Yeah, because I had to leave to take the kids trick-or-treating, which was also a lot of fun, but I didn't get to stay for the screening. But something else I want to do too, if anybody is interested who wants to submit, is I've gotten into banner printing lately. So, and I thought it was kind of cool that for Never Too Late, we had a lot of banners around the theater. So I think what I'm going to offer to do is if anybody who completes a Vidjam has like a high resolution or even medium resolution image that's a poster for their movie, I'll print you out a banner. We'll hang it in the hallway before the screening, and you can take it home as a souvenir.
Yeah, kind of cool.
Free o charge. Just get a thing to me.
Courtesy of the Depression Vacation Podcast.
Yeah, sponsored by Depression Vacation Podcast. All of your depression vacationing for your vacation depressioning needs.
Hatcha.
This means you have to create a poster.
Yeah,
FYI.
you have to create a post. That's been a fun like subsect of like doing Vidjam the last couple of years is doing posters
what's great is then you can use that for your IMDb page.
That's what I do every year. But it's interesting too because it's taught me more about design because like Photoshop was never my cup of tea, and I actually don't even use Photoshop, FYI. I just use Premiere, which saves me another subscription. But like I had to learn a lot lot about design for certain things.
Canva, if you ever.
I love Canva.
I've never heard of Canva. I would use.
That's how I made our logo.
Oh, really?
It is free, but I bought like a year of it because
there's some like exclusive stuff that you can only pay for. Yeah.
But it is. I think it's much cheaper than Photoshop.
Well, yeah.
Even.
But yeah, Vidjam of Horror is going to be a lot of fun. I believe we've settled on Gary Limoges hosting it as well. Mm-hmm. So Gary's been a wonderful host for several of the Vidjams. So
What was I about to say?
Yeah, maybe you'll remember in the last 5 minutes.
Yep, I never remember.
So Shannon, do you have anything coming up this week of interest?
Not this week, no.
And in interest coming up anytime soon?
So again, October 21st, I'm doing the Monster Mash comedy show.
Yeah. I love hearing about this every time you mention it.
Yeah, put on by Sarah Cartwright. So I made a slight change because it's in Millersburg and I'm worried about Legend of Zelda jokes being a little too niche for a public audience. So I have switched up my costume and I'm going to go for a bride. I'm going to do like a bachelorette party bride. And
oh my God, that'll speak to so many people.
Oh yeah, and like so totally relatable to me. And like I already have some like wedding marriage jokes that I've been working on anyway, so it works out.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's coming up. Other than that, I don't really have I finally went back to stand up on Thursday.
I know, of
and
course.
You couldn't make it.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Like they've eliminated most of the 10 p.m. nights I have to work now, but that just happened to be one of them.
Yeah.
And I didn't get out until like 10:05 or something. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go home.
I'm genuinely going to try and be more consistent.
Me too.
Coming out.
I've been enjoying
I say that once every 3 months, and then it doesn't happen.
Life has sort of gotten in the way. Like now that I'm getting a lot of energy back.
Just consistently every 3 months. That's...
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so Sam, do you have anything coming up?
I'm special effects consultant for Open Stage's production of The Exorcist.
Ooh,
that's really.
I'm excited for that. There's so many things that we still have to work on.
When does that show present?
It's in October. I don't remember the
No, but I want to go.
I'm such a good spokesperson for it.
It's also
look up at
Open Stage.
Yeah.
It's also starring
I don't know their website, guys.
Sometime between October 1st and
our
October
favorite
31st.
podcast friend, Wallace McKelvey's boyfriend, is also going to be in it.
Yeah.
Josh is going to be playing the director that like the mom works with. He was telling me.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you want to support him, go.
Oh man, I watched the designer run. Oh, he wasn't there, but so someone was reading his part, ironically, and I was actually like, "Who the hell is?" I can't remember who's taking this part. And thank you for reminding me that because I saw him sitting, and I've like said hello to him because I've seen him there, but like never seen him like actually doing any scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've remembered like, oh, put 2 and 2 together, Sam. But the designer run was like so cool. It is intense.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and make it out for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna as well. Like, the last couple of years I've been taking like a week of vacation because I actually get like a ton of vacation. I just never use it every year, and then I'm deliberately like now just taking a week of vacation from like the first week of October to the last week of October, first week of November. Also, so I can like do and see all the spooky things. Like, I also want to do trick or treat at my house because I haven't had a chance to give candy to trick or treaters yet, and so I hope maybe I'll see The Exorcist as well.
I will say, so I'm special effects consultant, but the one who's like more in charge of the special effects is Karen Rook, and she has done some crazy things, and just like watching her put together things is really fun, and it's just gonna be like, it's not like, I don't know, it's gonna be fluid and seamless, but just knowing the behind the scenes of like the work that she put into it was just really cool.
I can't wait to
and it makes me like want to make more things because of just like watching her like put things together and be like, oh, we could do this, and I was like, oh my God, I never thought about this.
In my opinion, this is the best time of year to go to theater too. Like the only thing I got to see around this time last year was when you and I went to Sleepy Hollow, and that was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
I remember.
That was a great production.
It was so creative. Like, I love how like theater where, budget is a constraint, like how they can do things more.
They knock it out of the park every time.
I know. Like, did David Zayas direct that version that we saw?
He wrote it and then.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. The only thing I have coming up this week is I do have the Offbeats, which is our musical improv group, is doing our first show of the season. We've been refining more aspects of it. Like the last season, which is the only season of the show we did, we tried like 100 different things to try to make it stand out from other musical improv groups. And like a lot of them did not land, especially for a half-hour format. So we're kind of doing things a little bit more traditionally with a few of our own tweaks to see how things work out. But this Friday at 9:30, you get to see it at the Harrisburg Improv Theater. So.
All right.
Yeah, and then of course Horror Vidjam on the 27th, which we'll have another episode before
Yeah,
then
we will.
anyway. But yeah, so thank you all for listening to us ramble about cats and horror movies. Horror movies and cats. Horror movies and cats.
Honestly, is like all wrapped into one.
It's
Cats
beautiful.
should be a part of Halloween.
They are a part of
Absolutely.
Halloween, aren't they?
Oh yeah, like black cats
They
and
are.
stuff. Oh,
I guess Halloween doesn't have to be horror.
no, that's true.
Horror movies don't have to be Halloween, but
Well, we could. I have cats we can use if we need them. You know.
Yeah, let's have cats in the musical. We'll have
Yeah,
them
right.
singing.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan will teach them.
But anyway, thank you all for listening to the Depression Vacation this week. I've been Hal.
I've been Shannon.
I've been Sam.
Yes, you didn't make it a question this time. And thank you all so much, and we'll be back next week with people, probably just us, but people.
Yeah, but we're good enough, so don't worry about it.
We are